inside the gutter. Knock off when you open your mouth. Discrimination in entertainment, and you're talking about one Guyana. When the Ministry of Culture keep the big shows, one set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You hide the corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. Every picture you take and promise you make, everything you do is about clouds. Then you come into me for I shake your hand, there's nothing to smile about. Corruption inside every sector, but when it comes to them they send you. Try investigate efficiency, right? Go talk to Barrett and Sue. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. I done fed up on the dirty water, low pressure, want scream and tell somebody. Imagine 1500 US, and they're telling me super salary. I done fed up on the unemployment racism and the lie they say one Guyana. Cause when you look with the oil money going, circulate with one set of banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. Imagine 18 hours of blackout, and you're telling people progress. Cost of living gone up 100%, yet you give public servant less. Mr. President, listen to the people, search your soul and you will confess. And while you try surviving on the public base, then you're gonna know but stress. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. They don't drive no fair with the citizen. They may want the people speak out. Freedom of speech done gone inside the gutter. Knock off when you open your mouth. Discrimination in entertainment, and you're talking about one Guyana. When the Ministry of Culture keep the big shows, one set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. Every picture you take and promise you make, everything you do is about clouds. Then you come into me for I shake your hand, there's nothing to smile about. Corruption inside every sector, but when it comes to them they send you. Try investigate efficiency, right? Go talk to Barrett and Sue. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. I done fed up on the dirty water, low pressure, want scream and tell somebody. Imagine 1500 US, and they're telling me super salary. I done fed up on the unemployment racism and the lie they say one Guyana. Cause when you look with the oil money going, circulate with one set of banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up.
Today, I'd like to talk about the harm and disastrous impact the current Vice President of Guyana, Bharat Jagdeo, has brought upon the people of Guyana. Everything he has done has been for his own benefit, never thinking about the well-being of the people or taking any action to improve their lives. Instead of helping the common people live a decent life, he has abused his power from 1999 to 2024 to embezzle at least billions of dollars of public funds, possibly even more. The ordinary people have suffered from unfair treatment and a disastrous quality of life because of him. He's a truly corrupt and evil person, using his special status to commit countless harmful acts against Guyana, all for his own gain. He even has a massive fortune in China, worth billions of dollars, all taken from the people's wealth. Today, I hope everyone becomes aware of his corruption. Let's come together, unite, and help the people of Guyana start a new chapter for a better future.
Good evening, good evening, everyone. We were having a bit of technical difficulties there, um, especially with our Facebook feed. So if you know anyone who is looking to see the program on Facebook, please let them know to tune into YouTube this evening for the show. We're working on our Facebook feed at the present moment. All right. So good evening to all of you. I hope you guys are doing well. How are you guys doing today, man? I'm a little bit dumb. I gotta perk myself up here. Let's see who is here. Okay, Marcia Jackman. Marcia Jackman, she taking an early job at me. She said, wait and see, so what happened? Like you want us to have a 4:30 show in the morning. Marcia Jackman, I see where you coming from. I'm seeing where you're coming from, Miss Marcia Jackman. Miss Sandra Hanover, pleasant good evening to you. Dennis Wilson, a pleasant good evening to you, sir. Candy Lynn Inderjit, good evening, good evening, good evening. Deborah Clark, good evening. Carol Bovell, Lorraine Beat, a pleasant good evening to all of you all present here. Matthew Dennison, good evening. Miss Siobhan McDonald, long time. I got to catch up with you. Good evening, good evening. Kenneth DeFlormont, good evening. Aileen Norton, good evening, good evening, good evening. Oh, boy. Vashti McNaught, I can't forget you. How are you doing? Good evening. Oh, I just called a whole slew of names. I seem to call them all correctly. I don't know if the installed president can do that, but that's a whole other thing to talk about. Let's not get into that this evening. How are you guys doing, man? How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are having a pleasant weekend. We have quite a few little things that I want to touch on this evening. Okay, hopefully our Facebook viewers could join you guys on YouTube, and we have a full YouTube team this evening. But welcome again, welcome to over to you. Share the link, like the program, do your administrative thing. This is your program, over to you. A program by the people, for the people, by the people, for the people. A pleasant good evening to the wider Caribbean, North America, all those out in Europe and the United Kingdom. A pleasant good evening. The continent of Africa, good evening, or whatever time of the day it is to you. I know places like Australia and stuff, it's probably morning. London, it's probably a bit after 11 or 12. But welcome to the program. Where should we start? Whew, boy. I was chiming in on the installed first vice president. All you guys know who that is. Because whatever is done on the PPP side, he has to be front page and back page. So I guess he's the first vice president. I want to know if he's the last vice president also, if there's such a thing. But nevertheless, he is talking about the reporting the social media influencers and activists and Rickford Burke and Mark Benchcop and all of us to Donald Trump. You know, that we are making up fictitious stories about the PPP and all type of stuff. All right. Could you imagine this guy is trying to compile a report to report us, right? And in doing so, what will he be doing? He will be engaging a foreign government, okay? An external source. Now, my brothers and sisters, let's pivot back here. All right. You can reach out and engage the US to complain on influencers and talk show hosts and social media, hosts of programs on social media. But you are failing to engage the opposition, who is right on the other side of the aisle, right? So when you're going to go and complain to Donald Trump, I hope Donald Trump is a bit smarter than Barry Jagdeo. I would hope so. Because if you guys didn't know, Donald Trump did go to an accredited school. You got to give Jacket's jacket. He went to an accredited school. All right. And my expectation would also be that he knows that every story has two sides. And if he's going to give the Barajagdi on the PPP his ear, I would expect that he would give the opposition that same ear to get both sides of the story before making a decision. And by the way, Barajagdi, again, I'm going to say this again. You going and complain to Donald Trump. Ooh, everybody's so scared. Is Donald Trump our daddy or something? Yes, he's the president-elect of the United States. And come January 20th, he's going to be sworn in as the 47th president. Oh, yes, I acknowledge that. I acknowledge also that he won the elections. Yes. But Donald Trump is a man just like I am. Right? Well, am I supposed to be petrified or something? The only person you're supposed to be fearing is the Almighty. Why fear another man? Why? Is it because that you fear men that we have so many of our brothers and sisters that was killed extrajudicially? Is it? And is that going to be a part of your report that you're going to submit to Trump and his government? Is that going to be a part of your report? Because the world that I remember is a world where there is right and there's wrong. Right? And that's all I'm going to always see, because that's the way I was taught. I cannot take wrongs and make them right. I would never do that. Never. You know, we're not like you here, Barajagdio. We don't sell our integrity for anything. Right? We don't sell our integrity for wealth. We don't have people executed because of money or because we want power. We don't have people executed, period. We are all democratic in nature. We have a disagreement. We're going to come to the table. We're going to invite people to the table and we're going to discuss it. Right? Now, brothers and sisters, I took some time yesterday and I tuned into Politics 101 with Dr. David Hines. And I was watching the program and I would always go through the comments and I would, greet the listeners and viewers. I always greet them every night. That's my thing. And I saw a PPP supporter chimed into the conversation. And he was like, look at them too. And it was Dr. Hines, and the guest was Dr. Vince Adams. So, I looked, and he had other things to say that I wouldn't even say on the program here. But I don't typically respond to people. But I felt like if I had to respond this time, because the things that he said really bothered me. I'm going to tell you guys what I said to him in a minute, but I want to tell you how it bothered me. Is that the PPPC does a very, very, very poor job educating their followers. An extremely poor job. These guys come up with 2-word and 1-word sentences, all kind of nonsense. And they can't spell for nothing. They cannot put a proper sentence together. Barajagdi, is that the way you choose to attack intellectuals like myself and this audience that is here with me? That could never work. It can never work, and it would never work. Guys, let me get to my response. My response to that individual was the two men that you are looking at on screen currently. They are both doctors. Dr. David Hines, Dr. Vince Adams, bona fide, authentic doctors. Unlike Barry Jagdeo and Irfan Ali, who are both fake doctors. That was my response. Because you guys are crossing the line, and when you guys cross the line and you go into your little goddess, we're going to go there with you. Don't worry, the intellectual, educated stuff, we're going to still go there. Okay? We're going to go there with you. Anywhere you want to go, we're there with you. Anywhere you want to go. So, the PPPC needs to start educating their people. Again, I would have spoken out to the sugar workers and indicated to them that sugar is not their life. Sugar does not have a bright future. Your kids that are coming up and your grandkids that are coming up behind you, make sure that they get a formal education. Give them an opportunity to achieve in life and not be relegated to follow in your footsteps working for Gaisuko. We got to start getting educated on both sides, but especially the PPPC supporters. I have tuned in to shows that represents the PPPC. I've tuned into Freddie Kissoon and Gildari's show before. I don't get on there and disturb the peace. I go and I listen to the conversation. You know, I have my little laughs, and you know, I move on from that. But I don't go and call the PPP riggers and all this type of stuff on those programs. I just tune in and listen. Right? All right. Moving forward, the meeting at 5:30 in the morning called at State House.
In all the regions and everything, don't make me where is the PS? Where is the PS? At the gate. He's at the gate because he came after 5:30. That's why he's at the gate. Because he came after 5:30.
Where is the PS? Where is the PS? He's outside the gate because he came after 5:30, meaning 5:30 on the dot. The gate was closed. Okay? That meeting was the ultimate embarrassment. And you remember, I've said it on the show many, many times, guys. Remember, I always talk about the PPPC ministers not having any spine. Well, that 5:30 meeting was a good demonstration. Nobody stood up. They all took the abuse. Okay? And when you see you have people holding these ministerial positions and they are taking abuse, you know what happens? It's a trickle-down effect. The public will be abused. Okay? The public will be abused. See how Priyamani Chan treated the teachers, right? She treated the teachers the way how Irfan Ali treats her. Okay? You heard him. And it appears as if Priyamani Chan has contracts So if Priya Manichan has contracts, that means we have major conflict of interest, right? She's the minister in charge of education. She should have nothing to do with contracts. So I hope it's not the case that she has a contract or one of our family members or so have a contract, because that's conflict of interest. And that aligns with what the leader of the opposition consistently says, that the PPP is there to take care of their friends, family, and cronies. Right? It is consistent. We're seeing it across the board. Very consistent. Right? And let me just put it right in place for the Priya Manichan contract situation, allegedly. Let me add that there, because there's no grounded proof. It's alleged. But I hope it's not the case. I do hope it's not the case. You know, the PPP they're going overboard with this corruption thing and these conflict of interest issues. You know, sometimes I get on these programs and I call, for these important people sitting in parliament not to have businesses, for us to have bona fide politicians sitting there. Because Bajak is not a politician, guys. All of these guys, they're not politicians. These guys are business people moonlighting in politics. So there's why you see the high level of incompetence. There's why you see we're sitting here and there's no proper vision laid out for the people of Guyana. Because they just don't know how to do it. You got a president announcing cash grant, and he doesn't even know where the funds is coming from to fund that cash grant. How are you making an announcement and you don't know where the funds is coming from? How are you making an announcement to issue a cash grant instantaneously? Where is the money to do that? Going back to the meeting. Irfan Ali did an awesome job of showing up himself and showing up the PPPC at that meeting. His behavior was atrocious. Towards the women, he acted like a misogynist. He acted like a dictator. Okay? I don't know about you guys, but I refuse to sit down in a meeting and have somebody handle me that way. Oh, no. That ain't going down. That meeting gonna end right there. Or they gotta get the security to come and escort me. Oh yeah, it's ending right there. It's over. All right? I would never do that to somebody. What he did there was absolutely wrong. We don't agree with just about nothing that the PPPC member of parliament does, because all they do is follow Barajagdeo lead. But to see them being treated like that in the public domain, it was bad. But in a way, a lot of people said it. It's good for them. It's a wake-up call. And I agree with what the people say. I agree. It's a wake-up call. You guys should have nipped that in the bud so long ago. Okay? Most of you that Irfan Ali was addressing is more educated than Irfan Ali. Most of you. The other thing, is that we keep calling out all the time when it comes to distribution of wealth in this country and who control the wealth in this country. Right? We keep bringing that issue up over and over and over again. Well, that 5:30 meeting really depicted who controls the wealth in Guyana. Go back and look at the videos. And you just look at how many of those head contractors and the businessmen that got those contracts. Show me how many of them were there that were not of Guyanese East Indian descent. Hardly anyone. They were all, for the most part, Guyanese of East Indian descent. I did see one woman, Guyanese of African descent. I cannot remember if I saw a gentleman. And in some of the cases, when you saw the gentlemen, they were the engineers. So the engineers are not the owners of the contracts. So many people took on contracts and the work, in some cases, have not started. In some cases, it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months behind. No wonder why Guyana is in the predicament that it is in. Because, you have an incompetent government, and then you have these contractors that are failing to execute their duties. Right? No one is executing. It paints the picture and it tells us we need a new government in place that is going to make sure that everyone is executing their duties. We need a government in place that is going to hold everyone accountable. We need a government in place that is going to make sure that it is engaging the opposition. Remember this, it's the leading party and the opposition that comes together, that colludes, that intertwines to form a government. The PPPC by themselves is not the government. Okay? Both parties constitute the government. Barra Jagdeo forgets that 100% of the time. Hence the reason many have deemed the PPPC a dictatorship, an ethnocracy, That's the reason. Because the opposition is never considered. And I don't want to be one-sided and biased here. But the guys on the opposite side of the aisle that sits in opposition, they're very, very, very smart individuals. All right. Remember, we are making billions of, 1.2 billion in 2022, 1.6 billion in 2023, and I think 2.4 billion they're going to earn this year in 2024. Just from oil. I see my friend Victor Ben is there. A pleasant good evening to you, Mr. Victor Ben. Right? Victor always reminds me, Wayne, there's other resources outside of oil. Well, if we're looking at our goal, our bauxite, and all the other stuff that we have, the quarries, the sand pits, you understand me? Providing that everybody's reporting, everybody's paying their taxes, everybody's doing what they have to do. Honestly, we can do a whole lot in Guyana. But to see that the inflation is through the roof, cost of living is through the roof, and the PPP, right, has been sitting there since 2020. And they have done nothing to temper cost of living and inflation. And we are talking about less than 1 million people, guys. That should be easy because your sample is very small. It's not like the United States of America, 350 million, 374 million people. We are talking about Guyana. 83,000 square miles. More than enough land that probably every Guyanese could get four lots per person. But yes, we have long lists and long lines at housing as Guyanese punish, struggle, and wait to get a piece of land in their own country. Barry Jack, I don't want to talk to you about Mark Benchcap and Rickford Burke and these type of things. I want to talk to you on the issues. I want to talk to you on the issues where you and the PPP has been a complete failure to the people of Guyana. I want to talk to you on the issues. And don't try to talk money with me. I know all about money. So don't even let's go into money. I already know that you guys are cheating the system big time. I'm not even going to worry to go there tonight with you guys. Let's talk about the people. Let's talk about the people. Now, I'm going to say this, guys. When we talk about eradicating poverty, all right, there is no one way to eradicate poverty. No. Like, okay, Wayne, take this straight line, A to B, and there would be no more poverty. No. There is quite a few measures that needs to be taken in order to eradicate poverty. Right? You guys remember a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, we did our calculations. Right? And I told you guys, just on oil, based on what I did with oil, extracting 11% of the revenues that's coming in every year and giving it back to the Guyanese people, we can give to every adult Guyanese $100,000 every year, continually. They can look for that. It's just about guaranteed. All right? All right. Because when I did that, I also had my eyes on the budget, where 70% of the budget is allocated towards infrastructure. Well, we don't need to be building out infrastructure for 10 years where we need to allocate 70% of our budget for 10 years for infrastructure. They have done it for this first 5, right? Or let's call it 4, because I always say that forget 2020. I mean, probably even 2021, we could call that a wash. But you're going to do it for 22, 23. No, you're going to do it. Yes, 22, 23, 24. That's 3 years. Probably 25. And then at 2026, if we're dealing with infrastructure, that budget should not be more than 50% allocated to infrastructure. I would even go as far as saying 40%. Because you will have the new Demerara Bridge completed. Okay. What other massive projects are we looking at? Guyana Power and Light has been a disaster. That will not change until you have a new government in place. That will not change. Okay? But I want to turn back to the rent to own proposition that Mr. Norton has placed on the table. I want you guys to know that that is an excellent plan. An excellent proposal. I love it. Okay? Because if you're going to be receiving, guarantee your bank account $100,000 every year, as a cash grant from your oil revenue, your oil, Guyanese, your oil. Okay? Not Barry Jagdio, not the PPP, not the APNU plus AFC, your oil. Guyana is your country. Guyana don't belongs to any party. It belongs to the people of Guyana. Okay? If you're going to be getting $100,000 every year, right? And you pick up a rent to own, you're getting $100,000 every year. And the new government really focus on creating jobs, right? It's going to take job creation. It's going to take education, all right? It's going to take a consistent cash grant. It's going to take the government investing much more in farming so that we can have more produce and more products coming to market. All right. Also creating areas that if you have it where you have more products, if you have it where you have more supply than demand, you have these areas that you can process and freeze stuff and send it off to North America, the wider Caribbean, and these type of things, providing proper cold storage, right? Proper cold storage in Guyana, you would need an efficiently running Guyana Power and Light. Okay? You're talking about infrastructure, more buildings going up, and GPL is not running efficiently. All right? These are the things that adds up. That's why we're in the situation that we're in now, because you don't have proper thinking individuals at the helm. You don't have individuals with a vision at the helm, right? You have incompetent people. So it takes a lot. It takes a lot if we want to, cripple inflation, cripple cost of living, right? There's a lot of measures that we have to put in place. It cannot be done under the PPP. It cannot. Because the PPP is watching their own pockets. All right? You see that we're in a situation right now where the hospitals are not even functioning. The hospitals are not functioning. They're transferring people from the public hospitals to the sheriff hospital. We don't want that. We want a robust public hospital. Guyanese are not rich enough. We are not rich enough to be going to private hospitals. Okay? Some people does go there, but it takes a lot out of them having, to go to these private hospitals. It takes a lot out of them. All right? So we have to curtail these things. We have to really curtail these things. Give me 1 second here. Yes.
I can't take it no more. I can't take it no more. Can't take it no more. Imagine 18 hours of blackout and you're telling people progress. Cost of living gone up 100%, yet you give public servant less. Mr. President, listen to the people. Search your soul and you will confess. And while you try surviving on the public base, then you're gonna know but stress. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up.
There and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su? Oh, Su? My relation.
All right. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. So sorry about that. Yeah, I was just browsing through you guys' comments also. I understood that they're running up to Linden to share out house lots. Look, I've been hearing nightmare stories when it comes to house lots. Okay? That people are paying out their money. They're told that there's a house lot that's going to be allocated to them. They're not getting their transports. They're not getting anything. Housing is a mess. That's a ripoff. That's corruption all the way. Housing is a total mess. So I would say to most people, yes, if you're already in the process, see where the process takes you. Okay? But if it's me right now, if I did not start that process, I'm waiting to see to the extent there's going to be a new government. Because the last thing I want to do is to take my hard-earned money, give it to housing, and then sit down there for 10 to 17 years to wait for a piece of land. All right? The prices that they put, the price tab that they put on these lands, it is so unfair to Guyanese. The Guyanese people could never, the normal born and bred Guyanese could never be the target audience to obtain lands with those prices, because they absolutely don't have the money. They don't have the money. Right? They don't have the money. So I would wait on the new government and do the rent to own. And I don't know what the rent to own options is going to be, but I hope they have certain options in there. If somebody could afford to pay off earlier or could pay a little more principal and do these type of things, I hope those options are going to be, laid somewhere, laid into that mortgage, that people can do that. If brother and sister want to come together and purchase something together, they should be able to do that. And if they want to pay off it early, I hope those are all options in place. That's going to be in place for them. Right? In Guyana, we seem to still be stuck in the Stone Age. Right? And that first vice president, he always comes on his show and he cries and he complains about money. Oh, we don't have money for this. The country has certain expenses. We have to be careful because we're picking up the University of Guyana and that comes at a high cost and all this stuff. You guys should have been picking up the University of Guyana since 1991-92 when you guys took power. You guys denied the Guyanese people free education at the university level. You're the guys that did it. Right? I hope you also, Barry Jagdeo, add that to your letter to Trump. Also, you would add to your letter to Trump that, you guys control the Guyana Elections Commission. You, Barry Jagdeo, you're the one that will speak on behalf of GCOM. I have not seen Claudette Singh since the last election. I have not seen Claudette Singh since 2020. I don't know if any of you guys have seen Claudette Singh had a live press conference or anything since 2020. You think that's fair to the Guyanese people? You guys honestly sit down and feel that the people of Guyana should accept such mediocrity? And my brothers and sisters in Guyana, man, I ask you guys to wake up and stand up to this, man. This is what you call infringing on your rights. All right? Because when you guys work, you have to pay taxes. There's no way around it. Okay? You have to pay your property taxes, your rates and taxes. You have to pay that. Right? And when you work, you have to pay your taxes. Claudette Singh has all right to be addressing you guys. At least quarterly, GCOM should be addressing the Guyana public. Quarterly. And you might say, Wayne, that's too often. No, it's not. It's not. Especially based on what happened in 2020. Especially based on what happened in 2020. You see, here's where I got a problem. Here's where I don't like how Guyana works. All right? These agencies are allowed to bully people. When they come out and say, oh yeah, we're elections ready. Right? They haven't spoken to you in 5 years. But all of a sudden, you must believe it. Well, here, guys, hold up. You guys saw what happened in the US election? Right? The Obamas are awesome people. The Clintons are awesome people. But you don't wait until election time to come out and address people. You see, people are starting to wisen up. People are starting to wisen up. The first thing people just ask is, where were you all the time? Where were you all the time? All of a sudden, you're going to come and tell me who I should vote for. Right? The Obamas and the Clintons are people who I love. But I disagree with just coming out at the time of voting. Everybody coming out, film stars, everybody coming out. And you want to sway the people where they should vote. Well, Guyanese, I hope that you guys are just as smart as the citizens of America, because here it is. That PPP regime has been stuck in government since 2020 there, receiving massive amounts of revenue that we never ever received in Guyana before from oil. And they're talking about giving you a one-time. All right. Now what Wayne Caesar saying here, continually a one-time $100,000 cash grant for each adult. After waiting those years, 2020 to 2025, by the time we get to election time, you probably are going to be pulling in about 6.4 billion US by that time. Depending on the price of oil, it can even be more. All right? And all you Guyanese is worth is a one-time $100,000. Ladies and gentlemen, Guyanese of East Indian descent, you guys better start thinking. You guys better start thinking. You better start using this thing. All right? Because if that is all that you are worth, or if that is all that you're going to receive from your oil patrimony, I beg to ask you the question. Go do your homework and ask Barry Jagdeo and his ministers how much they've received. Barry Jagdeo is a wealthy man. I have never heard of Barry Jagdeo giving anything to the people of Ghana. If I was that wealthy, I would have done like Michael Bloomberg. I would have worked for a salary of $1.
Today, I'd like to talk about the harm and disastrous impact the current Vice President of Guyana, Bharat Jagdeo, has brought upon the people of Guyana. Everything he has done has been for his own benefit, never thinking about the well-being of the people or taking any action to improve their lives. Instead of helping the common people live a decent life, he has abused his power from 1999 to 2024 to embezzle at least billions of dollars of public funds, possibly even more. The ordinary people have suffered from unfair treatment and a disastrous quality of life because of him. He's a truly corrupt and evil person, using his special status to commit countless harmful acts against Guyana, all for his own gain. He even has a massive fortune in China, worth billions of dollars, all taken from the people's wealth. Today, I hope everyone becomes aware of his corruption. Let's come together, unite, and help the people of Guyana start a new chapter for a better future.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it right there, as clear as day. We at 107.1 FM is still awaiting a reply from Ambassador Chu concerning Barry Jagdeo's foreign accounts located in China. We're still waiting for that. Right. But you know, it's funny. Barry Jagdeo is like he'll never have enough. He'll never have enough. Because what he has right now, he should have walked away a long time ago. Just walk away. But you Guyanese, you all need to start getting wise. Because you are his target. You are his target. Barra Jagdeo would make deals that would benefit any other country or anyone else outside of the Guyanese people. His intention is always to see the Guyanese people in need. Or let's put it this way, wanting. My brothers and sisters, it's time that we start seeing some prosperity in Guyana. Okay? It's time we start seeing some happy faces in Guyana. All right? It's Christmas time. Where are the bonuses? If there are going to be any bonuses, I could say it off the top, it's going to be nothing substantial, nothing of material. Because the PPP never does that. The Guyanese people need to start standing up and stop accepting these deceitful excuses from Barra Jagdeo and the PPPC. Always saying they don't have this, they don't have that. Look, they went and signed on this week for what? Another electric ship, guys. Another electric ship. Right? Another temporary solution to the disaster that is GPL. My question is, when are we going to see a permanent solution to the issues of Guyana Power and Light? When? Because this has been going on too long. Too much money has been poured into this, and we haven't gotten the results. It's just like how we pouring money into sugar and we're not seeing any results. We need to stop the wasting. We need to start using the money in the right places. Right? I saw my friend Victor Ben posted, why don't we allocate out lands to the people, give them the land, and then supply them with the necessaries that they need to build? Well, it depends how you want to break that up and how you want to do it. Is that doable? I believe it is. But you would have to do a feasibility study for that. I believe it is. Especially if the oil prices, either stay the way they are or go up a bit. That's another thing too, Guyanese. We talk oil all the time. Right? Right now, oil, the market is booming. But alternative energy is really picking up, ladies and gentlemen. So there's a good chance by 2030, the window for oil will start closing. And you might want to say, well, Wayne, why are you saying this? Well, you know why I'm saying this? Because all of us are sitting down here and watching the PPP and their ministers get rich off of the revenue from the oil that belongs to the people of Guyana. We are sitting down and watching them do it. And when that window closes, you have the rich, and then we continue to live in poverty. We continue to struggle. To the Guyanese people, don't let this opportunity pass you by. All right? You, the people, we, the people, are the ones who does elect government to take care of our business, to put Guyana first, to serve us, not to serve themselves. Guys, really, let's start waking up. All right? We really need to get up. We need to get up like yesterday. All right? Because the door is going to close on us. That door is going to slam right in our faces. And like I would have said on a few shows ago, don't forget your bloodline. Don't forget your children. Don't forget your grandchildren. Don't forget the future generations. But remember, everything right now is in your hand. It is in your hand. Your decisions today is going to determine what the future of your children look like tomorrow. The future of your grandchildren. Now, when you sit on in your rocking chair and you look at them, it is eating out your inside. Because when you had the opportunity to stand up, you never did. You never did. You acted selfish. Stand up, brothers and sisters. Stand up. You need to conquer that fear that you have. Stand up. Do not let government treat you however they feel like treating you. They must treat you as Guyanese citizens with a level of dignity and respect. Look at the way our pensioners are treated. Imagine we have pensioners dying of high blood pressure, hypertension, and diabetes, and these are things that are easily treatable. But it just shows you we don't respect the past. We don't respect what these people would have done for us. All we look at is what we can rip and what we can get from oil revenue and how we can put up business to earn our own money and all these type of things. You guys have to really look, man. Guyanese, I'm calling on you. I'm pleading with you tonight. I really want you guys to put effort into vetting your leaders. You need to vet your leaders. You need people to walk into conference rooms, walk into meetings that is going to project on your behalf. Not because you're in a meeting with Trump and all these high dignitaries, you're going to walk in there with your tail between your legs. No. No. I am walking in there as the leader, as the president of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, and I am ready to represent my people. Not ready to negotiate with anybody. Oh yes, this is going to work for us. Yes, yes, whatever the case is. No, man. I am there looking out for my people. Barry Jagdeo, this is a people thing, man. This isn't about you. Imagine there's going to be a new administration and you talking about getting Rick Ford Borg back home to Guyana so you could do this thing. You and Anil Nandalal and y'all could do this and do. You're kidding me. Really? That's a show that you don't take the business of the Guyanese people serious. You and your party, y'all do not take the business of the Guyanese people serious. I'm here just about every weekend. You know why? And I don't receive a salary. But I don't play with my brothers and sisters. I'm not playing when it comes to Guyanese, man. Like I said, and I said it before, I have never seen you demonstrated an ounce of love. You've never said anything loving to these people. Never. Guyanese, y'all wake up, man. Y'all wake up, because when it's all said and done, we're all human beings. Okay? And human beings always have a soft spot where they show love. All right? They always have a soft spot where they show love. We don't love in Guyana anymore because the leaders them don't love. That's why we're always at each other's throat every day. Right? That's why when we go to the parties always getting shoot up. There's no love. Right? And we call ourselves human beings, right? We're supposed to quote unquote be the smartest living specimen on the face of the earth, right? Man, guys, you guys don't know. Sometimes I just want to beg to differ, man, based on what I just see. Sometimes I just want to beg to differ. We got to wake up, Guyanese. We got to wake up. I must applaud this. I like the job I see that the opposition is doing out front of GCOM. It needs to grow. It needs to be consistent. It needs to continue being effective. It is very effective. And it needs to grow. All right? It needs to grow. The numbers need to grow. All right? Talk show hosts on the ground in Guyana. Yeah, go and host them shows at Pleasance Market, Golden Grove Market and stuff. Go host the shows there. Talk to the vendors. Let them tell you what they're going through. Victor Ben, another good comment. Another good comment. Yes, we can have rice fields and these type of things, and you can put up windmills in those same rice fields. You'll be hitting two birds with one stone. But Victor, that would have to be under new government. The PPP is not that innovative. All right. I know you remember the fiber optic cable project, right? Okay. And they're supposed to be what? Harnessing some falls now for how long? Some falls supposed to be harnessing. How long has that been? Failure after failure after failure. Okay? Failure after failure after failure. Just now they're gonna say, hey, we're doing a feasibility study for a permanent Barbies bridge structure. Does Barbies need a permanent structure? Absolutely. But if you ask me, the current structure has not been in existence long enough for you to go ahead and do a permanent structure right now. I would prefer to see the people of Guyana being addressed. Enough infrastructure work. Enough for right now. Let's tone it down. Because a lot of buildings going up owned by government ministers. Okay? Let's tone it down a little bit. Let's try to deal with the people a little bit. All right? Let's try to deal with the people. I want to continue touching on that cash grant a little more, though, because it seems to have a lot of confusion when it comes to that cash grant. Right? And I see the leader of the opposition, he come up, he has some nice ideas in place. Right? To really look in on this whole situation of cash grants and try to mitigate corruption. You see, I would have liked it. Thank you, Delon Porter. Thank you. Delon said it is so true. I have never once in my life seen Jack Dio shown love for the people of Guyana. Delon, thank you. Right on, my friend. Thank you. To make my point, right? Infrastructure cannot feed people. Right? Like I said before, if you ask the Guyanese people, what do you all want? Infrastructure, you all want your property, you all want houses, you all want proper jobs. They would have told you all those things before they tell you anything about infrastructure. Look, the quality of life overall for Guyanese need to change, man. We out there, we were quoted as the fastest growing economy, right? Here's the other thing. In the United States of America, you guys know that they haven't had a major recession in quite a long time. A very long time. I've never seen this before, really. I have never seen this before. That stock market balloon is just blowing up. And when that does pop and that market decides to correct itself, Oh, it's going to really pop. Okay. But what the Democrats were looking at, that was one of the things that they were looking at, how the stock market was doing good. The stock market is what equates to what we call Wall Street. But the problem that they missed is that Wall Street was not speaking to Main Street, meaning the normal Joe and Jane on the ground. Wall Street was doing good, but Joe and Jane was struggling. Says Joe and Jane come together and vote them out. I pivot back to my brothers and sisters in Guyana. I say this to you. The PPP is talking about infrastructural works and all these kind of things, and everybody is quoting Guyana as the fastest growing economy and all the rest of it. It's not trickling down to you, my brothers and sisters. You are still living in poverty. That needs to change, right? We can't be quoting Guyana as the fastest growing economy and all this development. And usually, I sit down and I just listen to when the PPP talks and Irfan Ali talks, man, about development and all these things. And I look at these guys and I say, what a set of hypocrites. What a band of thieves. You know? Because nobody take a second out of their time to look at the Guyanese people. Nobody take a second to look at the Guyanese people. Nobody takes no time to understand their struggle. Right? Nobody. Everything is subpar. Right? Electricity, subpar. Water, GWI, garbage, subpar. Okay? Hospital facility, subpar. Right. All the hospitals should have their own independent generators. Okay? To the extent that patients are on machines and these kind of things, and we have a power outage, we still have power to keep the machine running and keep the patients safe. Look, Guyana is in such a bad place. We have so many deceased sitting at the morgue. Nobody's coming forward to claim them. That's how bad our country is. We are not developing. You're seeing big buildings, but that doesn't mean that we're developing, guys. Development starts with the people. That's how you develop your country. You first start with your human capital and then you pick up on everything else. Free university has been absent from eternity. So you see, there's a lot to change. More to come. More to come. My brothers and sisters, we have to be hell-bent that the PPPC is not returning to government in 2025. How much more of this do you need? They have given you the sample already. They have shown you what they're all about. It's time. It's time for us to see the back of the PPPC. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say this. I support a coalition government 100%. And like I said before, a coalition government brings everybody to the table. Okay? Everybody. And whomever is the leader of the opposition, well, we know who it is RBC Norton. He needs to listen to the individuals from all those parties, even the little joiner parties. We're all human beings. All of us is going to have something to offer to make Guyana better. All of us. I still got my side eye on those guys from ANOG. No apologies to the people of Guyana for supporting the PPPC. No apologies. The PPPC has failed the people of Guyana, and so have you, ANOG, because you've supported the PPPC. Ralph Ramkaran and Timothy Jonas, you guys owe to the Guyanese people an apology. Okay? You owe to the Guyanese people an apology. Last but not least, as we prepare, we're not preparing to close right now. I think we're preparing for a commercial break. Let's go to commercial and we'll be right back. So at any time.
My name is Jacinty Caldata Francis Wakenham, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my X next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
Oh, Jesus Christ, if cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta give a $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight man.
There and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su. Oh, Su.
I know you guys love that as much as I do. I've never seen a man freeze like that before. All right. I know you guys love that as much as I do. And that is going to haunt Barra Jagdeo for the remainder of his life. I have never seen that. That was like a complete freeze out. And look at his face. He was astonished. He's like, where did she get such information from? What the heck? You know? All right. Ethnic Relations Commission in Guyana. Again, I'm warning you guys, please desist. Please desist from writing individuals that are commenting on our programs. Do not write them. Stop Barra Jagdeo from uttering his nonsense, and then we can have a discussion and we can talk to individuals on programs to tone their rhetoric down. This guy is supposed to be the first vice president of Guyana. And if he can look and call a sitting member of parliament a lowlife, then I guess everything goes with no apology, with nothing. You guys got double standards, you know, and you're angering me. You got double standards. Okay? You wrote to my friend Colin Barnwell again. Please desist. Please desist. No letters. Pen Barra Jagdeo first. And you need to go on some of those programs and see what the PPP supporters have to say. Okay? I guess you can't read what they're saying. That's why you can't send them letters. You didn't understand what they're saying, right? Well, you guys need to clean up here and start understanding what they're saying. Stop writing people on programs, you know, that favors the opposition. Cut it out. All right, back to business, ladies and gentlemen. Still on the topic of Guyana, I saw Victor Ben ask something. Do we have a stock market in Guyana? We currently don't. I think that there should be some avenue for Guyanese to be able to invest in the bauxite sector, in the oil sector. There is something that can be done, right? I wouldn't say with immediate effect because Guyanese don't even have disposable income to go on a vacation. Where they finding any money to invest in a stock market? But Victor, that makes a whole lot of sense. Okay? That would do a lot towards the evolution of Guyana. You see, let me step back and go back to Lyndon Forbes Sampson Barnum, who, in my opinion, is the greatest leader to ever grace Guyana. All right. Barnum refused to play second fiddle to anybody. That's why people call him a dictator and all kind of stuff. Look, we got to think. We got to think. Barnum was way before his time. We got to think. All right? We got to think. Ian Williams said, Wayne, he's not the first vice president. Please correct yourself. Well, Ian Williams is saying that Barra Jagdeo is the president. I think this way Ian going. Ian, you're going to tell me if I get it right or if I get it wrong again. If that is what he's saying, well, hey, you see who have the press conference every Thursday. The other one had a press conference earlier this week, and he showed exactly how arrogant he is and how incapable he is. Not saying that Barra Jagdeo is capable. I'm not going to say that. But back to the stock market thing. I always believe that in Guyana, we should have had a gold bar reserve to back our dollar. Okay? And listen, if we do feasibility studies, if we look at what the economics look like around the world when it comes to oil, dig into the oil industry and see where we're going with oil in the next 20 years or so. A small to medium-sized oil refinery in Guyana would not be a bad thing either. Would not be a bad investment either. Okay? Once we get a good understanding, though, of where oil is going in the future. If there is going to be market, what the market is going to look like, we need to do studies on all these things before we can determine if it is okay to have a small to medium-sized oil refinery in Guyana. You know, my friend Victor Bende and I have this other friend Albert Bentig. They always remind me, Wayne, we used to put together top years in Guyana, Kalai bicycle. We used to do all these different things. It's not like we've never done anything in Guyana before. You know? And when I listen to these guys, it's paint a picture. We have not progressed since Forbes Warren, and we have regressed. You see, we still have the same Linden Highway that was built on the Forbes Warren. What a durable strip to have lasted this long. To have lasted this long. All of us here who would have been educated on the Burnham has a solid education. Okay? And when we came to America, amongst other countries that we went to, we walk into whatever agencies we work for. Solid. And all of us who came and went to school. We walk in those classrooms prepared. Yes, there was a little adjustment, getting accustomed to U.S. history, among other things. But the math and the English and these things, we excelled. Because the foundation was well set, a solid, strong foundation was set with the education that we received in Guyana. We also brought our values with us, strong values. Where are those values today? Where are those values today? Look what is happening to our young men and women in Guyana. Look what's going on. And then the PPP gives out a massive contract to this young man. Not going to call the name. And think that everybody should look, oh my God, look what's happening for him. This guy get a $500 million contract. No, guys, stop. All these contract handouts is corruption. That's not how you create jobs for people, guys. Okay? When it comes to creating jobs, that's not the fundamentals you want to use. You want to create proper government jobs. I know you guys remember back in the days when you see the government workers going to work with the women with their blouses and their skirts and stuff, and the men with their short jackets. That's what it should look like. I'm not saying they should be wearing short jack today, but we should be seeing government workers. Look how they treat our nurses. Look how our teachers was treated. I'm prayer manager. I'm boasting how the students did at CSEC. She acted like if she's the one that empowered and taught them and prepared them. It was our underpaid teachers. Again, vetting our leaders. I hope the teachers do a better job next time around, right? You guys elected Mark Light, right? Look, man, when you see I am going into battle to represent a cause and to represent a people, there's no turning back. Until I see a favorable outcome for the people that I'm representing, there is no turning back. Barry Jagdeo, you can take all the complaints you want to take. Right? There's nothing that Donald Trump is going to do to anybody. Why? Because the world is watching Donald Trump. The world is watching Donald Trump. The world is watching us all. Mike Pompeo, another visit to Guyana. Guyana is opening up wide. Guyana is opening up wide. To all the investors. What happened to those little born and bred children in Georgetown and in the country and stuff like that? What happened to them? What about their future? It don't matter. What about their future? Man, I'm sad. Okay? I'm sad. And, this got to stop. This got to stop. We've got to, look, this is the last stand. 2025 is the last stand. If we allow these people to continue to sit in government, Guyana is doomed for the poor. Guyana is doomed for the born and bred Guyanese. All right. When we look at prices in Guyana, we're seeing American prices. If you try to buy a built house, you're paying an American price. Those houses is not for born and bred Guyanese to purchase. You're showing me a house and other people like me that we can possibly purchase in Guyana. So the PPP is not catering for Guyanese. So I really want to see, I can't wait for 2025 because I really want to see how much my brothers and sisters have really learned. I want to see. That's going to be the judgment day. And actually, I can see before the elections actually how much they've learned. Because if you come out and you support that Tuesday protest, and other groups come out and form their own day of protest, if you want to do Thursday, if you want to do Wednesday. But if we continue to see robust, effective protests from now right through the election cycle, I believe, strongly believe, that change is going to come. All right? Barra Jagdeo is nervous. He is nervous. And the game that he's trying to play now, okay, we will not be moved by that game. Oh no, it's freedom of speech. Look, listen, you cannot take away people's freedom of speech. If you take away one's freedom and ability to speak, you're literally taking away their life. Okay? You cannot take away one's freedom to speak. You cannot. Okay? That is not the agreement. That is not the agreement, and it will never be the agreement. People must be able to speak all over this world. It is their right. I know some countries don't allow it, but when you have that right to speak, speak up. Speak up. If the PPPC had an ounce of democracy in them, they would call the opposition to the table. They would call the social media influencers to the table, and they will solve issues and solve concerns. But if you're not smart enough to sit at the table, why would you want to sit at it? Why would you want to sit at it? I am sorry I sound repetitive with this, but these guys are just not smart. I have seen it over and over again. They're just not smart. They put the carriage before the horse all the time. Next week, I will try to see if I can get Mr. Mark Anthony Benchcup to come and talk on some immigration matters. I would like to have him on at some point, because I saw, an issue there down in Guyana. I think I saw it reported on News Source, Gordon Mosley, that, some of these individuals who are preparing visa applications have been red flagged. Okay? And anything that they would have prepared has been flagged and is going to be discontinued. Victor Ben, you're on fire tonight. You want me to speak on the $24 million judgment against the government in the Quindon Bacchus killing. A pleasant good evening to the Bacchus family, Quindon's mother, his father, Mr. Julius Bacchus, who happens to be a friend of mine. Good evening to you guys. We are all still in mourning with you. Okay? We continue to stand with you. I know that we cannot directly feel the pain that you and Quindon's mother feels on a daily basis, but we feel, okay, and we are there with you. $24 million could never be sufficient, ladies and gentlemen, okay, to when you're juggling someone's life with $24 million. Of course, all of us here will always take life, right? I notice as I browse around Facebook and as I speak with people, they say to me, Wayne, is that what the black man's life is worth now? $24 million? So is that going to be the payout now when our children are executed? I'm not going to say I hope not. I'm not going to say that I hope not. I'm going to say that that's not going to be the case because we're going to start fighting back. Right? We're going to start fighting back. You're not going to just kill us. Now, listen, guys, we just got to stop this now. It got to stop now. All right. The judgment goes against the government for the Bacchus family to receive $24 million. Well, it's a judgment. You have a very arrogant AG. I heard people have hint that he can run this to the CCJ. I think that this judgment here is more of a civil matter. And I don't think that you could run this to the CCJ. But who knows? That's, to the PPP, that's a significant amount to pay out. And to pay out to a Guyanese family of African descent. So you have to wait and see. The judgment was passed. We are going to be waiting to see how long, it takes for the payment to be remitted to the family. Right? We're going to be looking at that. Also, that's not it when it comes to this Quindom Bacchus matter. There are other officers who were involved in this execution. This was an execution. Okay? He was executed. Okay? He was gunned down and murdered in a hail of bullets. Let's not forget that. He was shot like if the police officers were trying to kill the world's largest elephant. Okay? All right? He was killed, cruel. Okay? It was cruelty to the highest extent. Right? And that we're not going to forget. And like I said, everybody who gun would have fired in those exchange of fire should be imprisoned. Okay, no one should be no one should be walking. You see, as police officers, we also have a responsibility of controlling our partners too, right? If we see our partners are going to do something wrong, we have a right to stop them. Everybody just went off, Sometimes I ask myself the question, I want to know what the results would have been if Quindom Bacchus was a young Guyanese of East Indian descent. Don't you guys wonder that from time to time? Because look, the statistic shows it, man. When it comes to these executions, man, it's Guyanese of African descent. Look, Peter Headley was sitting down in the front seat of his car and he got executed. That story has gone quiet. We still want justice for Peter Headley. Okay? $24 million would have been, the judge would have ordered $24 million to be paid to Quindom Bacchus' family. That doesn't mean justice was served. We're not settling for that. Justice is going to be served when the other officers who were involved serve their time. That's when justice is served. We're starting to get a real gun problem in Guyana. We are starting to have a real problem with firearms in Guyana. And it doesn't surprise me. And it shouldn't surprise you guys. I mean, you guys see who is sitting in government, right? You see who is sitting in government. This is something that always happens under the PPPC. You always have young people dying, executions, everything. Lawlessness to the highest degree. Traffic fatalities through the roof. We need change, man. We need to get Guyana back in order. Okay? And listen, let me be pellucidly clear here. Getting Guyana back in order doesn't have to involve any external forces. I like the thing that Dr. Hines said. Dr. Hines put it to rest one night on his program when they were talking about bringing in, have the commissioners coming from maybe Europe or wherever. Dr. Hines said, no, we have people right here, and I agree with him. We have people right here. Okay? We have good people who are independent, who are ethical. One name always comes out and stands out to me, and that is Paul Slow. Paul Slow is a disciplinarian. Okay? He would straighten out, and Paul Slow doesn't come alone. He comes with Mr. Conway attached. Okay? And any other senior officer that he deems going to provide the necessary support that he needs. And this is somewhere that the opposition need to start looking one time. You don't wait until you get into government to start looking at these things, You got to kind of get yourself off the running start. Start to, dot all your I's and cross all your T's. So when you do touch down, it's a running start. Right? You don't have to sit down and then the Guyanese people start getting impatient and no. Soon as you hit the ground, it got to be transparency. One of the first thing I would like to see the opposition do is tell us what the treasury looks like. When you can relate to us what the treasury looks like, then people like myself who understands finance, who understand accounting, can come and sit on a program and explain to the people what it's going to be, what it's going to take to fix everything. Because if you're coming into government and the accounts is empty, the first thing you have to do is to replenish those accounts. So that holds up everything. Right? Once they're replenished and you're on track, and then we start dealing with the issues. Right? We start dealing with the issues, and when you talk about dealing with the issues, if you ask somebody like me, who is, people-centric, I'm going to say the people. Right? I like Ian Williams' comment. Mr. Conway, on a contractual basis to bring back some respectability to the Guyana police force. Yes. Yes. There is a disconnect between the Guyana police force and the people of Guyana. There is a disconnect between the Guyana police force and the communities across Guyana. When the Guyana police force go into the communities, you find all these young black men of African descent coming out with either they get shot in their foot or something like that. Why? Why? You can't sit and speak with them. You can't talk with them. They're not animals. You can reason with them. If you're any good, you can reason with them. I think someone like Paul Slow would really give young officers an understanding of what their duties actually are. Right? He can bring some level of empowerment to them by telling them about his experiences also. So these are things we need to look into. We need to, the opposition need to make sure that they're off to a running start in all their agencies. Those MPs that are astray right now, they need to be reeled in. Ladies and gentlemen, don't get me wrong. As a leader, being a leader is not an easy thing, man. All right? Sometimes you just have to bend a little bit. You have to bend a little bit. Right? This is directly for the MPs and Mr. Norton. You know, you guys got to figure out a way to work this out, man. Right? Let's remember. I always say this. Let's remember this, guys. And I want you guys to listen carefully, and you're gonna tell me, if I've gone wrong here. This is not about Mr. Norton. This is not about the MPs. This is about the people of Guyana that both Mr. Norton and the MPs represent. Right? So we got to get this right. I know that Aubrey Norton is a person that you can speak to, because I've called the leader many times and we have spoken. And he has listened whenever I had something to say. So I know whenever I call him, I always have his ear. Same thing for the MPs. Whenever I call them, sometimes they reach out to me. Sometimes they reach out to me. The PNCR needs to have all MPs on board. The entire party needs to be on board with the leader. The AFC, the same thing. The WPA, they're a small party, but I'm very, very, very proud of them. You know why? Because when I see them, it looks like if they're all joined by the hips. Even if they have their little discourse, boy, they tend to keep it so private. I love the WPA, a beautiful group of intellectuals led by Dr. David Hines. Comrade Hughes is doing an excellent job also with the AFC. Aubrey Norton is doing a solid job also. He has the largest party to deal with. But the PNC is the largest party, is the strongest party, represents a larger sample than all the other small parties put together. Hence, we need that mechanism to be functioning like a well-oiled machine. So, Mr. Norton, there's a little bit of work you have to do there. MPs, please be forthcoming with Mr. Norton. Please be forthcoming with Mr. Norton. Y'all get together, y'all sit down in the meeting, and y'all hash out what y'all have to hash out. Don't let me have to call the meeting. Okay? All right? Let's get that done. Outside of all of that, guys, Mr. Norton, in not this press conference, last week's press conference, would have indicated that the three leaders and also the leaders of the little joiner parties will be coming together in the near future and going to start speaking and start their negotiations on forming a coalition. So, Barry Jagdeo, bad news for you. You said that they would not collate, right? But you're wrong. The negotiations will be getting started shortly. So I guess it's going to be both me and you up at night, my friend. You're not going to sleep. Okay? You're not going to sleep. You're going to have a lot of sleepless nights, Barra Jagdeo. The end is soon. The Guyanese public will be able to see the back of the PPPC. The end is soon. The punishment to those young mothers, the young parents in Guyana, $20,000 welfare. Really? Mr. Norton and the opposition, please start putting together a proper welfare plan for the people of Guyana, please. $20,000 is nothing. $20,000 is spent in a day, easily. How can that be welfare for 1 month? If you have a young mother with 2 children, what does $20,000 do for her? If you have a young mother with 2 children and no babysitting, what does $20,000 do for her? Right? All right. We're approaching the 9 o'clock hour. All right. At 9, we're going to be signing off. I'm just going to check. All right. Let's. All right. We're gonna prepare to close. We're gonna prepare to close now. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a pleasure having you here tonight. I don't know if our Facebook viewers got an opportunity to view the program tonight, but if you could just pass on the information that we were on YouTube today because the Facebook feed was not working earlier. I don't know if it came on eventually. And for those of you guys who look at Facebook a lot, there was a PNCR rally. You guys could go and check that out. You know, Mr. Norton had a lot of important things to say, pertinent things, especially pertaining to the people of Guyana, which is what I love to hear, people-centric. You guys can listen in. Don't forget, Monday night, Mark Anthony Benchcop is going to be here with the Straight Up programs next week. Be sure to join in. He's going to have much more updates. I noticed that the Brutus situation has gone very, very quiet. We're going to pick up a little bit on that. Let's not forget these things. All of these things we need to bring to the forefront as the opposition make their election pitches. They need to make sure that they bring out all the things, all the atrocities that the PPPC would have committed over the past 5 years, over the past 30 years. They need to bring it all to the forefront to remind the people of Guyana when they go to the polls that they have to vote for that coalition government that's going to lead our country, the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, into a future of prosperity. Until next Saturday, my brothers and sisters, I love you all. I want you guys to really take care of yourself. Again, I always tell you guys, you're going to drive, you're going to go out and take a few drinks, no drinking and driving. Call an Uber or have someone else take the wheel. For all of you who are going to church tomorrow, have a blessed Sunday. For all those who are not going to church tomorrow, still have a blessed Sunday. Until next week, love all of you. Good night.
Yeah, my name is Jacinty Caldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my X next to the cup, and what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by 1 vote, they're losing it by data.
Oh, Jesus Christ, if cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight man.
What time? 9.